What up, Gromies? Alright, check it out. Hey, yo, what up? The name is NerdGrows. I got the buttery turf flows of the way I make these herbs grow. This one's for all my tent homies and my earth hoes.
Yo.
Wait,
what are you doing, man?
What?
Start the podcast.
Alright. What up, y'all? It's episode 25 of NerdGrows. Is that a milestone? I don't know. I think I counted 20. I won't count 25. We'll count 30. How's everyone doing this week? I got a lot to talk about. Right up at the top, BGG is doing a new drop this weekend. To coincide with Star Wars Day, we got Frogception version 1 dropping on May the 4th. And on Revenge of the 5th, we got Frogception version 2 dropping. Each version will have 35 individual packs each, and then there's also a limited box set with a quantity of 15. Now, the difference between the two versions is very simple. They're simply reverse parents, where in version 1 you have Days Sabrana x Froggetful Wedding. Version 2 is Froggetful Wedding x Days Sabrana. I'm really excited about that because Days Sabrana is one of my all-time favorite. So yeah, that'll be happening this weekend. Make sure you follow greenguy_genetics on Instagram for more information and to catch the drop as it goes live. Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot of housekeeping this week. Grateful and I are working on something special for you. We'll probably tell you about it next week. But on to my grow. I have Mango Smile on day 42. She's looking beautiful. My little double-headed monster. Buds are like just starting to come in. She's pretty tall. I wouldn't say she's like a super huge plant or anything, but pretty good for what I'm capable of. And then Ice Latte, I think I told you last week, like probably the last 2 weeks. It's on day 36 now, and it was small its whole life, and now it's just starting to pop off. And yeah, it's getting pretty big. It's like at the point where I feel like it's caught up to where Mango Smile was at the same day. So I have a feeling that these plants will probably end up being about the same size. This week I gave them both a haircut. I did top dressing, everything. Everything was looking great. Oh, by the way, with the Mango Smile, when I took the City Picker cover off, there was like 2-3 dozen mushrooms under the City Picker cover. Has anyone ever encountered this? Now, they look like the little white mushrooms that pop up in your yard. There wasn't anything super noticeable about them. Like they didn't look poisonous or weird, or there's just like common mushroom kind of thing. But has that happened to anyone? And what do? Do you like pick them, throw them out, I guess? Or do you scrape it back into the dirt? That's basically what I did because I was top dressing at the time. So when I scratched in all the top dressing, I kind of just scratched all the mushrooms back into the soil. I figured if it was something super horrible, it would have affected the plant already, possibly. But I could be completely wrong about that. Mycology is not my strong suit, but I'm learning. So that was kind of weird. Otherwise, everything's looking awesome. Now for the babies, I have Permanent Holiday on day 9 and Wizard Stash Remix on day 12. They're both looking healthy. They're starting to get bigger every day. They like double in size. They're definitely, I don't know, today was probably the first day I would say they were in veg and not like late seedling. But yeah, they look awesome. The Wizard Stash Remix, I got rid of the stocking cover on it, and I got a new cover from New Moon. Oh my god, it's this super obnoxious Hawaiian print, which I picked. Just like I love it. I just love how in your face it is. It's so funny. But yeah, it came out awesome. It looks great. It goes really well with all the other ones. The Permanent Holiday is in a 5-gallon pot, and yeah, it's looking good. I think I put a little too much rice hulls on. The plant's growing out, and it's like scraping the rice hulls as it goes away, so I took a whole bunch of it out. But other than that, it's been looking good. I broke my chemical sprayer that I use for watering this week, as many people do. I couldn't get the lid off. I need to do something with that, like put like a latch on it where you can like unhook it from the threading and pull it off, because it's so bad. I let the pressure out. I even took the whole hose out of it and just like put it in a headlock and was just twisting this thing and could not get it. And then eventually I don't twist it by the handle because obviously the handle has the little locking wings on it. And if those break, then the whole thing's basically shot. And with that said, that's exactly what I did, but it wasn't intentional. I wasn't like twisting it by the handle. I was just twisting it normal, and my arm was pressed on it and my hand slipped, and it was just enough pressure to snap the locking wings off. So that said, I went and got a new one. I actually got a 2-gallon because I figured that would keep me from having to make 2 trips for water. Because now, like, the amount of water I'm using is increasing, doing 4 plants at a time. So if I have a 1-gallon sprayer and I have 3 plants that need a gallon each, I have a couple Kool-Aid jugs that I like fill up and run around the house with them. But yeah, the grow's going well. Everything seems to be good, electricity-wise, which I had said before that was a concern, but none of the wiring is getting warm. Everything's operating properly. The fuse box, the fuse on the fuse box isn't getting warm or anything. But one advantage I noticed is having more lighting inside the tent. It does keep it warmer. That should be good for next winter, because that was a big struggle over the winter, was keeping the heater. I don't trust space heaters enough. I mean, I know they're safe. They have tip over protection and everything, but I just don't trust leaving a space heater unattended. So I've never had any heating in my grow. I do have a vent from the central air pointed at the tent, which I'm actually going to close now. That will probably switch over to AC in the upcoming months. But obviously that only works when the heat kicks on, and it does heat up the tent, just not consistently enough. Also, an update from last week's episode. I wanted to thank everyone who reached out in terms of me talking about making better habits for myself. And yeah, I think I made a lot of progress this week. I took on Sunday. All right, so this is going to be some nerdy shit, but for those of you who are Android users, if you didn't know, you don't have to use the stock app launcher, like your home screen that comes with your phone. Like if you have a Samsung, it comes with the Samsung home screen launcher. You can use whatever companies you want. For the past however many years, I've been using this one called Nova Launcher, and it works really well. I still think it's amazing. However, with the past few Android updates, there's been some glitches. Specifically, like I'll go to close the app and then my home screen won't work anymore. Touching the icons does nothing. So I recently switched from Nova Launcher over to Microsoft Launcher. I'm loving it so far. Has this little like slide over panel where you can add widgets to it. So I added a widget to my tent. I added my to-do list, added my health and nutrition stuff. So now when I open my phone, I can just slide my thumb over and I basically have like a HUD for myself. If I was a video game character, I'm like, all right, here's your health and your mana. Here's how much money you have. I essentially set it up where all the like quick stats for my life are in this little slide over panel. And I spent a lot of time on Sunday, like fully building out my to-do list. And that includes like when all my bills are due, all my habits that I want to get better about, anything I need to fix around the house, stuff for my gardening. And I'm telling you all this for 2 reasons. The first one is that I've been using it all week in order to make healthier choices in regards of what I eat and drink and smoke. And another reason is I also use it to run my grow to an extent, but we're going to talk about that later in the episode. But yeah, I have little reminders throughout the day. And I have it where when I wake up in the morning, my phone gives me a little agenda of like, here's everything you have to do today. And then here's like a couple other things you probably should do today. I know for a lot of people, it sounds overwhelming, but the thing is, and this was the really big realization for me that got me to start writing down everything is, yes, the to-do list with all the stuff on it is overwhelming to look at. But you're currently holding all of those things in your head simultaneously and you're trying to juggle them, right? It doesn't matter if they're written down or not because you're already doing it just in your own head. And we all know how faulty the human memory is in general, let alone for cannabis users. But yeah, for me personally, it takes a lot of stress off me because you don't have those little anxiety pangs of like, oh, I forgot to make that doctor's appointment. Oh shit, I forgot to put the trash cans out last night. Oh, that never happens. Everything's written down. My phone tells me where and when and what to do, and it's good. It really helps you be present in the moment a lot more. So with all of that said, I drank way less beers this week than I normally would have. I still had a couple, like I had a friend over for dinner, we hung out. But like I mentioned in last week's episode, I have a whole bunch of strategies that I'm going to try out. So the one I was really focusing on this week was lowering my caffeine intake in an effort to not crave a downer drug, essentially, to take the edge off. So also, I am actually drinking a Diet Coke right now, but Monday and Tuesday this week, I had no soda, no energy drinks. So on most days, I'll have a energy drink and then I'll drink water and then I'll have a soda and then I'll drink water and then I'll drink beer and then I'll drink water. So on Monday, I only had water. I completely cut out everything. And then on Tuesday, I had Crystal Light water. So a little bit of caffeine, but like less than half of what I would normally have. But yeah, that was kind of the theme for me this week, was like all the different drug drinks I have during the day between like caffeine and alcohol and anything else. Instead of just going through my normal routine of like caffeine before work, alcohol after work, caffeine in the middle of the afternoon, I tried to place them in the appropriate place, for example. So, like, I had to wake up early this morning. So, I had a bunch of caffeine when I woke up because that was difficult. But on days where I woke up on my normal schedule, I skipped the caffeine. I skipped the beers after work, but had someone, a friend came over for dinner. So, it's good. Not completely abstaining, but cutting back by a decent amount. And honestly, I feel a lot better this week, just having less drugs, less chemicals. And obviously, the natural side effect of that, I still get thirsty. So my water intake has been awesome this week. But yeah, I think it's a win. Like I said before, or like I said last week, I'm not really a cold turkey person. The way I think about it is like, if you want to kill a bad habit, you got to like put it in a grip and then like turn the crank a little bit at a time, and then you'll be good. So next week, I want to try to do as much as I did this week and then a little bit more. I'll take another strategy that we talked about last week and I'll stack it on top of the cut back on caffeine strategy. But yeah, it's been a good week. All right, so our topic this week is about timing your grow, but I wanted to talk about it from more of a personal perspective. I don't actually mean like when you have to water, when when you have to adjust everything. But we've been talking about routines a lot recently. So I kind of wanted to talk about how you approach your grow from a routine perspective. Now, I don't remember who said it, but I saw somebody online say, I don't remember the exact wording, but the sentiment was something like your first grow sucks because you're hyper vigilant, and then your second grow sucks because you're too lazy. With the point being that it takes time to kind of integrate the growing workflow into your life and into your lifestyle. And it's just a concept that's been kicking around in my head all week since I saw it, especially since I've been making all of these workflow and lifestyle adjustments and using my phone to do so. And I'm a new grower. I'm on my fourth grow, I think, right now. And I definitely felt the ebb and flow, and it took time because some days I'll get so busy where I'll realize that I haven't even thought about my plants in a couple days. And then that scares me. And then I run down, open up the tent, and freaks me out a lot. But obviously, as a new grower, when it's all very, very new and exciting, you can also have that time where you kind of hover over your plants. And there's another thing that I'm noticing as I'm becoming a better and more confident grower is the antsiness is kind of coming back, but not because everything is so new and shiny. It's because I'm more efficient now. So what used to take me 2 hours to do takes me a half hour to do now. My brain is like, you didn't do enough gardening this week. You didn't do enough gardening this week. And then I go look and everything's completely fine. But so I'm kind of having feelings like that too, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, I don't have to sit there and water for 40 minutes because I can just pour it down the city picker now and it does it by itself. I don't have to worry about checking the temperature and the humidity all the time because I'm better at setting up the grow in the first place, not having to make adjustments like I was when I was a new grower. But at the end of the day, either scenario, whether you're too antsy or you're too lazy, that can have an effect on quality and yield. And it also can affect your life, right? Like if you're growing too many plants that doesn't fit into your lifestyle, you can have a lot of anxiety from that. Or if you have your grow set up in a way that doesn't fit in with the rest of your life, that can be really difficult. So this week I wanted to give you some of the tips that I use in order to keep my grow fitting within my lifestyle. My number one tip, and I know a lot of y'all are going to hate this, but when you're feeling antsy and you're like, oh, I got to pop a bean, I got to trim something, I got to water something, I got to feed something, clean and organize your grow room because I see your shit on Instagram. Get those fucking Mountain Dew cans out of there. What are you doing? I'm just kidding. That wasn't pointing to anyone specific. I just literally looked over at my grow and I had left the soda bottle on the counter. It's empty. I put water in it, but but that's something I do where, especially because my grow is next to my office. So if I'm doing something on the computer for a long time and I'm starting to get antsy and I feel like I need a break, I'll literally just get up and go like wash my pruners or make sure all my seeds are organized, make sure all my cables are organized. I have a desk in my grow with a bunch of drawers in it. So I have like one for cables, one for tools, just a little section for everything. But as you're gardening, you don't always put stuff back in the right location and everything. So I always go take like a little 5-minute break, go tidy up for a little bit, then go hop back on the computer. Especially if you have things that are dirty or gross, or if any machinery or tools that you're using get dirty. Like you don't want to have to rebuy things because they get gunked up or gross or moldy. So yeah, if you feel like you need to do something in your grow, you just have that gut feeling that you have to do something in the grow, make sure your house is in order, clean up everything, organize everything. Usually by the time you're done with that, the itch will have gone away. Now the next tip isn't for when I'm feeling lazy, but it's more of a safety net in case I am feeling lazy. And like I had said earlier in the episode, I use the to-do list app on my phone. Specifically because I just switched to Microsoft Launcher, I'm using Microsoft, I don't know if it's called To-Do or Tasks, but it's the one that's built into Outlook, the little blue check mark. So I have reminders set on my phone for 6:30 in the morning and for 9 o'clock at night, because that's a time where I'm about to go to bed or I've been awake for a couple minutes. And all it says is check plants. So I wake up, I see that. I'm getting, I'm brushing my teeth before bed. I see that. I go down and I don't do anything necessarily other than just open the window on the tent, look at them, or open it up, look to see if the city pickers are filled, look to see what's going on with the gear, check the wiring, everything. And if I feel like I have to do something, like if I have to water or feed or cut off some leaves, I write it down on my phone. And then if it's 6 in the morning, I set it for after work. And then if I catch something that I need to do at the 9 o'clock viewing, like it's a fucking movie theater, at the 9 o'clock one, I set it for the next day. And then that way I have it on my to-do list for the day. Oh, water plants. All right, cool. When I have free time, let's go do that. And that's kind of how I keep my grow fit into my lifestyle. I have it's not even hectic. It's very, very scheduled, but like almost every minute of my day is accounted for. And I have very little windows of free time. So I have like part of my to-do list is just kind of extra stuff that I need to do during my free time. And whenever I get one of those little windows, I just knock as many things off the list as I can, basically. And I don't mean all my free time. I still a lot like half-hour a day to play video games. My son and I have been playing a lot of Minecraft. We got some dope shit going on. My wife's like, all right, so you just go, you go garden for real, and then you come inside because you're tired, and then you play pretend gardening. I'm like, yeah, my garden doesn't have zombies and skeletons in it to fight. Like, shit. But yeah, I use the to-do list that's built into my phone, and all of your phones have it regardless of what you have. And honestly, a lot of you have assistants built in. You can do a lot more than just ask it what the weather is. A lot of times you can say like, set a reminder with a due date of blah, blah, blah to water my plants. And then your phone will just remind you. But I would recommend this strategy to anyone who has like a hectic lifestyle is instead of setting time aside for watering and other things, just set time aside every day to just go look at it. And then if you need to do something, then assess your schedule from there. When it comes to like to-do lists and being productive, for me, it's not about like hustling and working all the time. It's really about alleviating anxiety. So I try not to set up my to-do list in a way that's going to make me more anxious. The whole purpose of it is to make me feel less anxious. If I set a reminder every 3 days that said water plants or something, that wouldn't work for me because the chances of me actually being able to sit down and water the plants at that time most likely won't happen. However, I can always run down and take a quick peek at them at 6:30 in the morning or at 9 o'clock at night. Hopefully that makes sense. And if you guys need any help, like getting something like that set up on your phone, let me know. I'll definitely help you out, work you through it. And for the next thing, I briefly mentioned it before, is if you feel like you don't have enough time to grow all the plants that you're currently growing, is to find ways to make the grow itself more efficient. The example I used before was if you're hand watering, to switch over to something like auto pots or a city picker or earth box where you can just pour the shit in and walk away. Also, let me tell you about a little cringe moment. If you want to go back and listen to like episode 3, I'm pretty sure in that episode I was like, city picker, auto pots, what are these clowns talking about? I've definitely hit that point where I can go back to the old episodes. I definitely said some ignorant as fuck shit. Hopefully that's a testament to how much I've been learning and growing. And a lot of y'all been coming up with me, and it's awesome. Along the same lines, also making sure, if you're growing indoor, that your whole tent setup from an environmental perspective is stable. Because one thing that I struggled with when I first started growing was not understanding how to find that balance of humidity, temperature, heat, all of that. So there were times where like my tent would be like almost imploding because the exhaust was all the way on, or it would be freezing. So I was wasting a lot of time constantly adjusting the environment. And obviously, that's something that comes with time and experience. And it's something that I still struggle with. Not as much, but you never know what the day is going to bring you. You're going to get a dry ass day, cold ass day. But finding that like environmental sweet spot where everything just kind of sits nicely, none of your components are turning on too hard or not turning on at all, that'll also help you save a lot of time in your grow. But yeah, that's really what I wanted to talk about this week, was giving the correct amount of attention to your grow while also having your grow fit into your lifestyle. When people talk about getting bigger yields and better quality, they're always talking about gear or nutrients, but they never really talk about the actual work you're putting in from like a physical and mental perspective. Like, it doesn't matter if you have the best nutrients in the world, you still gotta remember to do the shit. You still gotta move your muscles to get the shit done. So just getting like real down to basics. Speaking of, my tent's beeping right now. I'll be right back. All right, the humidifier was low, so forget everything I just said. All right, so this week I've been rewatching Yellowjackets. I had to have like scrolled past something and saw it because I saw that I think they start filming next week or the week after for season 3. And season 3 doesn't come out until next year, I don't believe, seeing as they're just starting to film it now. I believe the writer's strike started one day after production started for season 3. So they basically got nothing done. But hearing all of that gave me the itch to give it a quick rewatch. I mean, there's only 2 seasons, right? There's not a whole lot of episodes per season. It is an hour-long show. But yeah, Yellowjackets is one of my favorite shows of the past couple years. So yeah, like usual, I'm not going to spoil anything other than the basic premise of the show. So Yellowjackets is I call it like a horror drama, and it's on Showtime. I get it through Hulu, but you can also get it through Paramount Plus. You have to buy like the Showtime add-on. But it's like an ensemble dark drama. It has the horror thriller theory crafting side of it, just like shows like Dexter, but it also has the female ensemble cast vibe, like similar to shows like Orange is the New Black. Also, we'll get into it in a minute. There is an ensemble cast of children, which also goes into that kind of teenage retro horror vibe we've basically seen popping up nonstop since Stranger Things started. So it has all these really cool elements to it where it's dark, it's twisted, has ensemble cast, old school kids lost in the woods horror vibe to it. It's really cool. So the basic plot is that a girls' high school soccer team is going to a national soccer tournament and their plane goes down in the middle of the wilderness. A bunch of them survive the crash and they now have to fend for themselves in the woods until rescue comes because there's nothing for miles and miles and miles in any direction, essentially. As they spend more time in the wilderness, they all start to go a little crazy and all of this messed up stuff happens. And we're talking about typical horror stuff like blood rituals, cults, wilderness survival. And it also has this kind of almost Blair Witch kind of feeling where it's like, are the woods themselves supernatural in some way? And that's really a big part of the fun of the show is like, it's almost like the Donnie Darko thing, right? Is he actually schizophrenic or is he actually time traveling? We don't know. And that's kind of how Yellowjackets feels a lot of the time, is that they throw all these different horror elements at you, but you're always trying to figure out which one is real, or are they all real, or are all the girls just collectively crazy, or what's what's happening, are there supernatural elements or not? And it goes on through that. But yeah, soccer team of girls lost in the woods. And then simultaneously it shows them 25 years later as adults. Someone starts to figure out all the fucked up shit they did in the woods. Kind of like It, right? Where like the kids come back together as adults. That's another one, right? Like similar to Stranger Things and It. Like Yellowjackets kind of has a lot of that vibe where it's like, the kids' timeline, the adults' timeline kind of thing. But they all have to get back together and try to figure out who's onto them, essentially. There's a whole lot more to it. So much stuff happens in this show. Every episode, just multiple crazy things happen. But yeah, I love it. So I spent this week rewatching it and still picking up little clues and foreshadowing and little things because like the show is really well made. I wouldn't say they definitely have everything planned out. I mean, they might. I haven't watched a lot of interviews or anything, but the way they do foreshadowing and everything. So, sometimes when they do foreshadowing in a TV show, you can tell it was done retroactively, where it's like, oh, the knife on the table from season one comes back, kind of thing. And you're like, all right, they'll just like stretch the Chekhov's gun out super far like that. Where Yellow Jackets doesn't feel that way. It feels like everything is very, very intentional, even down to like the outfits and stuff, kind of like Breaking Bad, right? Where like every single detail, the books on the wall, everything, it all fits in together. And the other big thing, holy crap, the cast in this show, right? So in the younger timeline, you have Ella Purnell, who you guys probably know as being the lead actress in Fallout, which is probably another reason why I wanted to watch Yellowjackets, is because I heard the news about it. I just watched Fallout. She's in Yellowjackets. We've got everything. But I just had the itch to rewatch it this week. You also have Liv Houston, who you may know as the daughter in Santa Clarita Diet, that was a horror comedy, but another horror based show. And you also have Jasmine Savoy Brown, who you know from like every horror movie recently. No, but she's in the new set of Scream movies, which is awesome. She's been one of my favorite like younger horror actresses lately, probably because I love Scream so much. And then for the adult cast, you have like so many awesome ladies. Like, so you have Melanie Linsky from Two and a Half Men, Juliette Lewis, Christina Ricci, Lauren Ambrose, from 6 Feet Under and Can't Hardly Wait. She was like my Molly Ringwald. Nah, you can never replace Molly Ringwald. Also, Elijah Wood is in season 2, which is awesome. But yeah, there's just so many characters because there's 2 versions of each character and just both of them just packed with awesome actresses. So it's great. I've really been enjoying the show. So if you haven't watched it, I would definitely recommend checking it out. But all right, y'all, we got Mushrooms in the City Picker. We're giving our grows the attention they deserve, and we're rewatching Yellowjackets. Until next week, peace, y'all.